War Eagle Auburn family, and welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here, but if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Appreciate you just spending even just a few minutes of your time with us tonight, however we can get you on the live or on the replay. On tonight's live stream, as is the case with all our Wednesday night live streams, it's open mic night. It's going to be a live stream with open call-in opportunities for you to take part in, and I will open up those in just a minute and let you know how you can do that in just a bit here after we get done with our initial welcome. Our topic prepared to discuss tonight is the Auburn football defensive staff changes, who it is, implications, all that kind of stuff, talk through some of the angles of that. But as the case is for any Wednesday night, we can discuss anything that you guys want. We'll bounce around a lot. I'm sure there's a lot to talk about still with basketball. There's other things that you guys want to talk about. We will do that as well. So the phone lines will open up in just a little bit for all of that. How you can take advantage of that tonight is that you can hit the call-in link in just a little bit, and then I will let you come on in, have your say, and talk about what you want to talk about, questions. We'll take all that kind of stuff, and it's at the top of the link. You hit on that. You can be on camera, off of camera, all that good stuff, and we'll have that open up for you guys in just a little bit. I'll go ahead and put the reminder down below for you to take advantage of it. And we'll probably only take one call in at a time as they come in, and we'll just see how many people want to discuss tonight. As you come into the live stream, as most people do, please do make sure you do us a couple favors here. Smash that like button if you enjoy that type of this type of content. Also, post where you're watching from, city, state, international, all that good stuff. A lot of you are already doing that. Thank you so much for that. We want to get as many people in here as can, and commenting, liking, all that good stuff does help it out, even if you are just watching on Twitter as well. With that being said, like I said, we're gonna start off probably tonight talking with football related topics or whatever you guys kind of initially talk about, and then we'll move on into some other things. We'll just kind of see where the night takes us in terms of what's on you guys' minds tonight. We got Corey checking in, John, Thomas, Neil from Snobland. Good to see you guys. Thanks for checking in so early. Dusty from Pensacola, Florida. Thanks for the Florida Day shout out. Well, you know, when I put that out there, I definitely thought of you, Dusty, when I said that, or we put that out there. For those of you that know, it was National Florida Day a couple of days ago. And every once in a while when those pop up, I like to give shout outs for Auburn family that's in those states and let them know, hey, we're thinking about you today. So that's what that was all about. It's also Creed Day today. The Auburn Creed is being memorialized or remembered today. If you don't know that, you need to know it. It's what defines you as an Auburn man or woman. Rodney Fuqua, good to see you. A lot of our channel members and Booster Club members are already here checking in. Good crowd to start off the night as we kind of get things going. We do already have one caller, so I'm going to let him pop in here and say hello to us and get the night started off for us. Mr. Ryan, what's going on, sir?
I had an eventful day, let me tell you.
Did you? What's going on, buddy?
And it does relate to Auburn football. So,
okay, let me hear.
I was going through my normal school day. Just for some context, I am part of our football team, Bloomingdale football. There's a lot of recruits down here. And I walked in the locker room today. I so happened to see one Cadillac Williams standing in my locker room.
Oh, really? Got a little exclusive for us tonight, huh?
Yeah, he was down here doing some recruiting. Very cool guy. Talked to him for about 10 minutes. Got his name, number. You got his number, all that. So very, very cool guy. I won't give out his number here, but
right.
But
yeah,
he was I didn't expect that.
So who was he there to see? Any can you give us names or no? Is that probably it? Not a no.
I don't know, but he was here and he was very cool.
The coaches have been making the rounds. I've seen Coach Harsin and especially Coach Keesaw with him a lot to meeting different coaches and stuff. You know, I'm sure they're kind of not only just for the end of this recruiting cycle, but going around to kind of get the cycle going again for the next season.
Guys in our class that are
say that again.
We have a lot of 2023 guys that have picked up a few offers over the days and get coaches come and see them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's cool. You know, Cadillac's one of my favorite. He's arguably my favorite Auburn football player. You can't see it on the screen right now, but when I go wide again, you'll see it. There's a signed picture of him back there. He's one of my favorites.
A name from my school you should look out for: Christian Bondner. Very talented dude. He only has a couple offers right now, but they'll be shortly here.
Hey, random question for you. What's that you got in your hand?
It's a Pop-It. I'm bored.
I got one too. Isn't that cool? I got this for Christmas in my stocking for my mom. I didn't know what it was, but now, like, you know, when I'm just sitting here thinking about something, I'm just sitting here, you know, popping and stuff like that. It's really weird.
Get down to the nitty gritty. Nobody really wants.
He said, "Move on." All right, let's go. What you got?
I wanted to talk about all these coaching changes and
how
it would affect the locker room and all that.
Okay.
So, it does suck losing Mason, I agree. But I think it was last year when they got hired. I think it was Late Kick Josh. He put out a video about like the coaching carousel and all that. And he said the staff that Auburn's building, like Mike Bobo and Derek Mason, they were only intended to be here for like a year, 2 years.
Okay.
And I think what happened was with Alan Green and all the guys behind the scenes, those were their hires. Those weren't a Harsin hire.
Okay.
And the reason you're hearing all these rumors about Derek Mason butting heads with Bryan Harsin is because of those weren't his hires. Those were guys that Alan Green went out and got, and they were first year guys to help Harsin recruit and get his foot in the door, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think a lot of these guys are staying. Like, a lot of these recruits, a lot of these transfers are staying.
Yeah.
Here, and I don't think I think that Harsin and all them told them what's going on with the coaching staff and who they plan on to bring in replacement.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of speculation, rumors about what has and hasn't been going on. And, you know, I tend to think that kind of what you're saying is definitely a possibility about how all this went down. I think a first-year coach, especially from what he was stepping into in terms of football, Coach Harsin coming from Boise State into the big, bad SEC West, you want to get as much help as you can get, even if it's just a little bit of early initial help. So was there maybe some vying from, people love to call it the powers that be, you know, to get some of these bigger names in, like a Bobo or a Mason at the time in early, expecting them to leave maybe soonish? Sure. I don't necessarily agree that it was an Alan Green thing or one particular person. I would say that if Harsin didn't want him, he definitely wouldn't have brought him in. But I get what I understand where you're going with that.
And I'm gonna stay on the recruiting side. If Harsin's going to do well in recruiting, he has to win the southern states. You know, my area, my South Florida, is very powerful. I've seen it myself.
Yeah.
He has to win this area. He has to win. It's going to be very hard to beat out Nick Saban for Alabama.
It is.
He definitely has to jump into Texas and go grab some guys over there.
Right.
But I do like what he's doing with the JUCO route or the transfer route, going to grab guys from up west and bringing them back home.
Gotcha. Yeah. Definitely.
And then I also saw, did you see, I like how family oriented, I don't want to say like it's always been that way, but like how like oriented and like how Harsin is kind of engulfing the Auburn meme culture, if you will, with his crime finger shirt, and like how he's like enjoying himself with the players. And
no, you definitely can see there's some chemistry built there. You know, it's a little different than a lot of people. It's different from, like, say, him to Bruce Pearl. Definitely different styles of doing things. It's also different from him to Coach Malzahn. And I don't think that there's a, you know, one right or wrong way to do it. But definitely, I think when you look at things like players who decided to come back, that shows you there's a culture built there that they want to be a part of. and that's a good sign. It doesn't mean it's for everybody. That's why players leave. That's why Bo left, and it's not that he didn't want to be a part of it. There's other reasons behind it. It's not everybody's got to find what fits them best and kind of stick to it.
I'm going to leave us off. I know it's in kind of short. I'm going to leave us off with this.
Okay.
The one thing I think Calzada's fine at QB. Offense line's fine. Receiver rooms, we need receivers. War Eagle.
War Eagle. All right, thanks for calling in, Ryan. We do have another caller I'm going to let in as well here. We got another Ryan. Ryan, what's up tonight?
Nothing much. How y'all doing?
Oh, just kind of rambling around the world that is Auburn fandom right now. We've been hitting football, but anything's fair game. So what's on your mind tonight?
Well, I was just talking about the, I guess, rumors of Bruce leaving after this year that I think are false, but, people are going to spew what they're going to spew.
I've tried to stay out of that a lot today because this always happens. And, I feel like, so there's two levels to this, or actually several levels to this. Part of this is who his agent is, and if his agent is worth his salt, he is putting his name out no matter what to anybody that may be a legitimate candidate to take him at some point, just because that's what you need to do. Get the guy to work, even if it's not to get him to leave, to get him the best deal. But is it really a serious thing that's happening right now? Probably not, but it's also a recruiting tactic. There's so many levels to this whole nonsense at this point. It's just kind of fun to watch, like you already kind of talked about.
Right. I don't know. It's funny.
It is. Do you think anybody would be able to steal Bruce from us, though?
Probably not. I think he's invested way too much in this program to take it from where basically no one was talking about Auburn basketball before, and now we're the number one team in the country.
Yeah. It's definitely, he's made it his baby. And, Bruce has made it so that, and I think we've talked about this on previous live streams before, where Auburn basketball doesn't have the Nick Saban, the Shug Jordan, the Paul Bear Bryant, what have you, throw a name in there, just who's the face of a particular sports program for some school out there. Sonny Smith is the closest thing we have, and that's a pretty good name to have there, but there's no like legendary coach. If Bruce stays here, he's the face of Auburn basketball. He becomes the Shug Jordan. So it's a matter of, does he see the value in it? I think he does. But you never just know. Some days that somebody comes calling with the right amount of cash. How about this? You may agree with me on this. I don't think money will be an issue for Bruce Pearl here. He will be given what he needs. What do you think about that?
1,000%. 1,000%. Auburn loves Bruce. I think Bruce loves Auburn. There's no way. I think he'll probably retire here, but at least I hope. I love Bruce Pearl. He just brings an energy to basketball that makes it so fun to watch.
What would you think about Bruce Pearl as an athletics director someday?
Oh, that would be amazing.
I've always loved that idea. And I'm not saying, I want Alan Green to go anywhere. Alan Green's kept him here, so that there's something to be said to that. But, I would think Alan being young has probably got some other aspirations outside of Auburn to do other universities and stuff like that. So maybe somewhere down the line when, Bruce is getting toward the end of his career, Alan's wanting to do something else. Let's bring on in Bruce Pearl as the athletic director. I'm all for that.
Especially with how much involved in not only Auburn basketball, but Auburn in general he is. Like, you see him at football games with his shirt off, yelling and screaming.
Yes.
He's invested in Auburn as a whole, not just our basketball program.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would have fun with it. I expect the great memes for the next Twitter game about some version of he's not thinking about leaving, or supposedly he is thinking about leaving. They have never failed to entertain me with the memes and them doing relevant things. Have you put out an Auburn meme yourself before?
I have, and it's hard because I'm not the meme type. I can't edit or design anything.
Right.
But Auburn Twitter is it's awesome. I love it. I love the creativity that people bring to the table.
It's it's one of those things. I think when it's kept in the right light, which it's being done, the times that it doesn't get taken is when the opponents take it too seriously. And I think most people, they get so, riled up about it. It's like, dude, this is a gag. Like that was the funny thing. We did our best memes video on the channel today. And some of them were, I think probably like a third of them were self-deprecating and saying, marked ourselves safe from losing, or joking that we barely won this game. It's kind of one of the things. This is all a goof. It's just for fun. Everybody just relax.
Right.
All right, we're here. How about this? Before you head out, give me, how are you feeling about Oklahoma? Any thoughts about that this Saturday?
Well, my buddy, his whole family went to Kansas, and they're big KU fans. So I think it'll actually be closer than people are expecting. I think they're a good team, and I mean, we're at home, so that is a huge advantage. I think we are, right?
Yes, we would be at home for this one. Yes.
Okay, then yeah, I think we'll win. It's probably going to be pretty close.
I think it's going to be a closer game. I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn pulls away at the end of it. I think Oklahoma's been a little down this year. I also have Kansas in my immediate family. My sister-in-law is a humongous Kansas fan. It's like we're both married into this family. And so, like, we're the two in-laws that are kind of the outsiders, but yet we both love college basketball. So we have like that one kind of thing we bond over. But, she's an Auburn fan too, but she was raised a Kansas fan. So she always roots for them. So I'm kind of hoping we can get an Auburn-Kansas rematch in the tournament, just so I can watch us two go at it, like with each other watching that game. It's just going to be fun to experience that.
He hates me for this, but I always 24/7 give him crap about the 2019 tournament.
We put it to him a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah, we definitely did. And his one comeback all the time is, "Oh, you guys shot up junk and it went in," and it's kind of true, but hey,
you couldn't stop it. If you don't want it to work, stop it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Right.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for calling in tonight, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, we got two Ryans off the bat there. The phone lines are open if you want it. Call in whenever. This is just a bounce around, talking about whatever you want to talk about tonight. And there's plenty to discuss tonight. Let's see here. I've been trying to keep up somewhat in the chat with what's been going on. We've had a lot of people just talking about various things here. I guess kind of coming back to football until we either get a call in or a change of subject to about the football situation. This is a very interesting transition here for me because like Ryan was saying earlier, was this something that was always viewed as temporary? If you recall, I discussed this a little bit on live streams as well, that I always thought that Derek Mason would be short-lived because he's been a head coach. I think he'll want to have a shot at that again. From what I'm being told, he definitely wants to be in the NFL, at least as a positional coach someday. Can anybody confirm this? Did he actually go to Oklahoma State? I don't think that's happened last I checked. I mean, to be honest with you, once they're done with Auburn, I don't really follow them all that closely, especially if they weren't like a head coach or a star player or something like that. I hate to say that, but, I can't tell you how many sacks Big Cat Bryant had last year for UCF because I enjoyed him while he was here, but I just don't really invest that much time in him. But I say all that to say that I do think that the Mason thing was going to be short-lived. I thought Bobo, if he had enough success, was going to be here a little bit longer since, I don't know why. I just kind of felt that way to me. So with this Derek Mason leaving thing, I think a lot of people were worried that Zach Etheridge might leave. I know that they were very, very close. Luckily, and I didn't realize that this had been announced with all of the new defensive coaching changes, that Zach Etheridge was named to the coach of the secondary. You see that sometimes where you've got one coach that does all of them, where in a Derek Mason defense, which is very cornerback focused a lot, defensive back focused, you might split that up a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see if it stays that way. Does Zach Etheridge stay as the secondary coach? And he's also got recruiting coordinator. Two big things to probably keep him happy and keep him here. And he's definitely someone that we want to keep there. Let's see. I think it's fair to say we lost more talent than gained in the transfer portal. I don't know if I agree with that. Just kind of thinking about it right now. You know, you throw Bo Nix into there. We've pretty much replaced that with Calzada and Robbie Ashford and who we have here available now. I would say, and I'm a big Bo fan, right? I love Bo Nix. Wish he had stayed. Think he would have been better for him to stay. But I think that's a pretty fair trade, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think what other big losses we had other than that, some wide receiver stuff. That might be where you probably hurt the most, but I don't know that that's an area where we're going to be hurting so bad that we lost some things there. Offensive line as well. I think what would probably, Benjamin, help maybe is in your favor for your point there is if we had already pulled in a little bit more offensive line transfers or recruits. The one point that I think a lot of people are missing on that is who says that the offensive line situation is already getting figured out? Who says they aren't already here, the ones that we need for next year? They could be. I don't know that. But I think there's just this idea out there that why aren't we going to recruit these? We are. Just because they haven't signed doesn't mean they aren't going to, or they aren't doing that, or aren't doing their job to go out there and figure that out. They know they need offensive linemen, I guess is what I'm trying to say out there. And there's silent recruits all the time. Jeffrey Imba is the perfect example of that. So we'll see. Yeah, Neil, we talked about that previous live stream that Bama hired away Travaris Robinson. Cardinal sin, my friend. You don't go be a Bammer. You don't do it. He hurts my heart. We don't. You made me discuss it. Mason to OK State is confirmed, Kyle. Okay. Like I said, I don't pay attention to them a whole lot once they're gone from Auburn. So that's kind of once you exit the door, it kind of like shut. I don't shut the door completely on you. There's like a crack where I can kind of still look out and see what's going on with you. Who's the other ex-Bama at Auburn? Who is it, Neil? I need to know who I need to be angry at. Hey, listen, it happens all the time, whether you like it or not. Turncoats are everywhere. It just matters where they end up. If they end up coming to Auburn later on, and think about it this way, Travaris Robinson came to Auburn first before he went to Bama. He's just taking the opportunities and get at this point. Anyway, so defensive staff, just to kind of lay it all out there for everybody. Derek Mason obviously stepped down, opened up that position. In the meantime, Nick Eason had also left. That left the defensive line position open. So what happens? They bring Jeff Schmedding up, moved him up from the assistant head coach, linebackers coach position to be defensive coordinator. They brought in, where is he at? Christian Robinson is a Florida guy. Brought him up to be linebackers coach. Brought in Jimmy Brumbaugh to be the defensive line coach. And then obviously we've already discussed it, Zach Etheridge being named to the secondary coach. And again, I still am fascinated if they could or would split that responsibility up, as you see happen a lot of time, to give Trevon Reed an actual role, to keep him on staff, to keep him being a part of that. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's a temporary thing. I don't know how all those little inner workings things work. He has his position right now, and we'll see how that works out for him. But that is your lineup. That is your coaching staff for the next year, unless things change. I get the feeling that we're probably going to not see any more changes there because there's been enough change at this point. It's been it's been a tumultuous offseason for players and coaches alike. So I hope that we're not going to see any more turnover or switching around of roles or things like that. And I would bet that the offense is pretty well set too. So it looks like for the most part, coach transfer portal season is at least done for now. So take a deep breath on that if you were worried about it. How does everyone feel about bringing up Jeff Schmedding? It's a hard one to say. Like, is that I'm okay with it? Is it I don't like it, or it was the best of a bad situation? How does everyone feel about the Jeff Schmedding thing? From what I understand about his career, he was a former head coach or coordinator at Eastern Washington, I think is what it was, and was brought over to Harsin's staff to get into Division I, and then obviously spent some time there with him. was brought over here kind of late to be part of his staff. And, you always wonder, too, was this the plan all along for him to insert Jeff Schmedding into his staff and then bring him up at some point? Stan checking in says former Auburn players to go to Coach Obama are dead to me. Well, does that mean Pat Dye was too? I guess you're saying former Auburn players, so I get what you're saying there. Listen, everybody's got to do what they got to do. You'd hope that it wouldn't be at the expense of that rivalry situation right there. It matters how they finish rather than what they're doing now. I think Travaris Robinson loves Auburn, but he's also trying to do what he can for his career as well. Neutral on the new coordinator. I think it's fine to say, right? I think it's fine to be neutral on this and just say, hey, listen, I think Coach is doing what he needs to do to make this a successful situation and then move forward from there. I think anybody that's saying, oh, we're failing, this is a scramble thing. No, this wasn't. From what I'm being told, and I think this is now corroborated a lot by some of the beat writers and stuff like that, this was a long time coming. This was not really a bad blood situation. This was, I see things, want to do things differently, and it's going to be better for both of our futures if we find a better solution to transition over to this. Much different than the Bobo situation. Yes, Pat Dye did see the light. Don't know how to feel about Schmedding because he's an unknown to me. I do want to see him recruit on the level that Mason did. It's hard to quantify what effect Mason actually had on recruiting. You see sometimes these people, their names are linked to it. You see that, hey, he was the lead recruiter. But then you see like guys like Trevon Reed come up who had to be given a position after firing Bobo and being allowed to go on the road then, making more of a difference. I'm not saying he didn't. I think Derek Mason is probably, from what I understand, a great recruiter. But, recruiting is more of a team effort and not just solely a one coach thing right there. I'm okay with Schmedding. He's been successful in defensive coaching. And if I remember, he was the run defensive coordinator this year. I think he was brought in to be the DC from the start. Thomas, it's probably not a bad thought, honestly, that, coach had plans to move him up, especially if he thought Derek Mason had plans to leave one day. A lot of times you see coaches like that after they take a step down from being a head coach, talking about Derek Mason, they kind of want a transitionary period. It's why, everybody knew when Will Muschamp came after being fired at Florida, South Carolina. No, Florida came to us, then went to South Carolina. They knew he would be there for like a year. We were hoping for 2, maybe 1, if we could get just a full year out of him. How about the new linebacker coach, Christian Robinson? I honestly don't know a lot about him. I know a lot of people got excited about him when he was named that he was coming. It says right here, linebackers, served as the linebackers coach for 4 years at Florida and has been hired as the linebackers coach and defensive run game coordinator. So obviously, I wonder if Schmedding is the one who had a hand in bringing him over here. The interesting thing about all of this transpiring too is the rumors and everything started kind of coagulating the weekend of last weekend during the Kentucky stuff and kind of got lost in all that. That's why we discussed it before we went to the game and went to go check out Pearlville, as it was called, because I knew it was going to get lost in all that stuff. I think we should all just be in wait and see mode with the football program right now. It's been a turbulent couple of months, to say the least. Absolutely. But that's what happens when you're going through a transition period. I didn't want it. Well, here we are. Our D will still be solid, have some good pieces returning. It's good to surround yourself with people you trust. I'm hopeful. And I think that's a way to look at it. I wouldn't call the defense solid, not from last year. I think they had some moments where they started getting things together. Alabama, case in point. There's a lot of people that think that Schmedding was in control of that. Did he always have input? Yes, but Mason was in control of that. I can guarantee you of that. I obviously can't guarantee. I don't talk to him, but I'd be willing to bet that he had control over that. I think his system just finally started to work for him. But at that point, he realizes it's probably best for him to go, give Auburn a chance to get who they want in here. I really don't want to see Schmedding drive away any recruits. What makes you think, Cohen, that he's going to drive them away? Like what would he do or not do to drive them away? If you're talking about just the initial hire of him driving them away, do you really want them at that point? That's what I would ask, because I don't. If that's the case, I really don't want them to be here. I don't want guys to sign up for a coach. I want them to sign up for the school, because that just creates more problems down that route. There he is, Mr. Dusty. What's up, sir? How are you? I surprised you.
I'm good. No, I'm watching Oklahoma and West Virginia. I'm doing some scouting.
What do they look like? Tell me what Oklahoma we need to be watching for on them.
I don't think they're probably like all these other fan bases. I don't think they can handle. They've probably never been meme blasted before. No, this game in particular, man, it's like kind of looks like a rough and tumble game. Like this is a physical game. It's kind of hard to gauge so far. They just got started, but there's like a lot of fouls, loose balls, kind of helter skelter right now. So I can't. Really
is it at Oklahoma or West Virginia?
I'll tell you in a second.
Okay, I was gonna say, just look on the court. You'll see like at least a logo or something like there.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Oklahoma. I want to say it's in Oklahoma.
Yeah, the good thing is that we have for this, if Oklahoma was having a better year, I'd be a little bit more worried about this game. But they're coming to the jungle. And from what I understand, the standing room only tickets are more expensive for this game than they were for Kentucky. If that's true, that's ridiculous. I was sitting here trying to debate whether I could bring myself to fork over a few $100s to go stand and watch Kentucky. I don't know that I can do that for Oklahoma, to be honest with you.
No, it's funny because my birthday is October 28th, so we usually go to the Ole Miss game together because it's always right there. And she was like, "I can't do a football game this year, baby. Different things came up." She said, "I promise you a basketball game. We'll do a basketball game." And now she's looking at these ticket prices, and I'm like, "You promise?"
Is that? Let's see. Hold on. What about that Has she looked at Gainesville? Where does she live?
She lives in Pensacola.
Okay, I say, can y'all go to Gainesville? I mean, those might be a little bit cheaper.
That's a good suggestion. But my mom, I got my Auburn from my dad. I made my mom fall in love with Auburn, like just by her taking me to games and her seeing what it was and everything. Like she wasn't with it until she went to a game and saw the atmosphere and saw the family and saw what everything was. And now she's all about it. She loves it. She's starting to kind of get into the basketball. So, but she loves the football atmosphere, loves going to the games and all that kind of deal. So I kind of got her hooked on that one.
Yeah. Hey, Corey brought this up. What do you think about UGA putting a whooping on Bama? Not a whooping, but beat them at least. How was that?
Their first win. Those guys are still wearing hard hats in Coleman Coliseum. I didn't know. And those are like $15 seats that are empty. And I listen, I might as well. We're peacocks now, I guess. I might as well do it. Look, you guys, Missouri, and I will give the Missouri fans credit, are calling out the particular group that acted the way they acted the other night. So I'm going to give Missouri overall, their fan base has said, "Hey, we got some clowns." The way the Kentucky program has acted, good Lord,
top
dude,
top to bottom, from the head coach down to the fan,
the sports writers,
every one of them.
Everybody thinks that Louisville's like a better place than Auburn all of a sudden. Do they have better basketball history?
Yes.
Sure. I mean, but like one thing, I'll use this as an example. I was surprised about Brian Kelly just because of his age. That's not a move that I would make at 62 when I'm comfortable at Notre Dame. Bruce is what, 61, 62? And he just now has got Auburn to what he's been building it at. Why would he leave that and then have to try to build something new, add more stress? Like we took a chance on him. He was at ESPN because he was in trouble.
Yep.
And we came and we took a chance on him. And then since he's been at Auburn, we've stood ground for him multiple times and took flack for him. And I think Bruce respects that. And he's like how Les Miles fit LSU's culture, and that worked well for so long. Bruce just fits Auburn, man. He really does. And I just think it's a marriage made in heaven, and we're so lucky to have it.
I would agree. I would say this is the way I look at any time this comes up, because, if it's not Louisville, it's Maryland, I think Purdue was thrown in there one time, which honestly, that one too. It would be a Midwest team that would scare me. And Louisville's getting closer up there to the Midwest, but like that Indiana job this summer, that's what scared me, if anything. But when you already kind of brought it up, when you look at these situations, people say, "Oh, Bruce might leave Auburn." Well, okay, maybe. I'm willing to say maybe, but you got to start breaking it down. Is money going to be an issue? No. If Allen Green's smart, and I'm pretty sure he is, he throws every bit of money they can at the dude because of what he's done for Auburn. If you look at, is Bruce happy here? Well, it seems like it. He's already talking about building, the student waiting area outside, out there. He's already got plans for the future. So when you look at those, is he happy? Has he got the financial backing? That's a yes. So what else is going to draw him to be? Why would you want to go to Duke and be the guy that replaced the guy? And a Mike Krzyzewski, I can't even say it, Coach K. Why would you want to do that? You will never be as good as Coach K. Here at Auburn, you're the guy. It's over, done with already. And Sonny Smith, I love Coach Sonny Smith. He's like one of my most favorite human beings ever, and I'm so glad he's part of our history and should be honored and revered. But Bruce is like steadily on a path to surpass him in terms of his legacy at Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, this team is special, and I've told you how far I think it's going to go. Like, as far as I think we are the best team in the country, it's not just because we're number one. Shout out to Clint, by the way. Respect you, buddy. Like, we are the number one team. So, and as far as I really think we're the best team depth wise, the way we can do it. If you turn the ball over, we're gonna fast break you. And we're just so deep in so many different areas. This is like I've told you before. Bruce has got this thing now. We were running more half court sets than ever. We can do stuff with Jabari. We can do stuff with Kessler off the screen. Once we get Berman back, Bruce was running off-ball screens and then having Lior run around that off-ball screen, like an old great Popovich. He called it a hammer screen. Popovich came up with that, and we were hitting Berman over there in the corner with that, and he has a high percentage doing it. So, like, we were doing more half-court stuff than Bruce has been doing before, like the Bryce Brown, those kind of.
We might have lost Dusty there for a minute. You there?
Yeah, I'm here, buddy.
We got the most of it. You cut out there for just a second, but yeah, I liked what you were saying there. So Cam brought up this interesting thing here. I don't know if he's just speculating. He says, from what I'm hearing, a basketball facilities is. I mean, what do you? Auburn Arena's got all the facilities you need. I don't know what you would need to add. A student waiting area or something like that, maybe. But any ideas? I mean, what does the program need that they don't have?
Well, I mean, I know we got the football thing is much needed, and I know that's getting done. I've been doing some research on the baseball, and from what I've read, they need some stuff.
Yes, but it's finally starting to come.
We are down there, guys, as far as just participation in baseball. Let's get that up a little bit. We're better than that. Mississippi State has like 20,000 fans at their games, and we'll never be that for baseball. But like, let's make that a point this year to maybe show those guys some more love.
I would agree. Clint's very happy with you saying that.
Good. Well, good. I'm with Clint on that. And then as far as basketball, I haven't heard anything about the facilities being bad or anything. But I'm sure that if there's something that Bruce needs, he's already getting top guys. I mean, we've got the number one pick in the draft already coming to the school. Right. So, but if there's more stuff that can help, man, I'm all for it. We just paid a coach $25 million to get fired, so there's money in Auburn.
There definitely is, and if it ain't in Auburn, It's in the donors. And that's exactly what Bruce said when he was talking about taking care of the students out there. Yeah, listen, it's the whole Bruce rumors thing are what they are. Rumors. There's always a little bit of smoke every time, but it's to what degree is the smoke? And I see nothing but, little puffs out of a cigarette, in a just massive, earth. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. And I don't think you obviously are, or anybody else really is. I think we're taking it seriously. Like I said, I think it was Ryan earlier. I'm looking forward to the memes this week referencing this after hopefully we beat Oklahoma. They need some fresh material, How's that real quick before you go? How's that Oklahoma game looking?
It was back on commercial. I wanted to ask you a quick question, and then I'll let you go because we haven't. This is just something me and you haven't talked about in a while. It's basketball season and everything.
Right.
I kind of disagreed with you. At the time with the Gus Malzahn on, I still thought it was time for Gus to go. I'm not trying to open up that can of worms tonight.
Open it up, baby. Open it up.
There's just different reasons as to why I felt that way. Like it was mainly record versus rivals on the road and stuff like that.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is you were saying that you didn't want to become Tennessee, and I thought that was kind of a ridiculous thing to say at the time. And I'm getting scared here that this might be going in the wrong direction as far as football goes, man. I don't want to be that way. We've lost 5 games in a row, and I don't know who any of these guys are that are getting promoted. Yeah. And I'm hoping, Harsin says he's got a plan, and we're gonna find out next year. But man, what do you think? Like, is this what's going on, man?
To be point blank, you're asking, do I think we're becoming Tennessee?
Do you think the projector? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, and you know me, man. Like I'm pretty pro Auburn. I try to look at it the right way. Some of this stuff, I think the program is on a downward. I think the projection is definitely down.
I would say based off of things like record, the way it ended, the tumultuous offseason. Yes, is there a downward trend? But I think like all downward trends, they eventually level out before, unless they just completely bottom out. And we have not bottomed out. If we were bottomed out, we would have lost our head coach. We would have, everybody would have left, So while I still maintain my fear has always been when we fired Gus that we might become the Tennessee. I think that's still a reality, but I don't think we're heading there at this point. I think right now, this is exactly what happens when you change not just offensive, defensive, schemes, personnel, and stuff like that. You change a culture in the way that you operate, the way you do things. So this is all this is what I expected. It actually surprised me that we only made it to 6 and 7 because I thought we could do a lot better than that. But that's just a record, and that's why I try to look. Things like records, wins, losses, I try to kind of compartmentalize them into when they actually happen and look at the overall thing. And I think you do this too as well. That where I feel like where we're at right now is that it's leveling off. And we'll get a better idea, obviously, in spring, kind of where we're sitting at because right now there's a lot of unknowns, right? We don't know what Jeff Schmedding is going to look like as a defensive court. We don't know what these QBs are doing. I think we've talked about a lot. A QB or 2 is going to leave probably, or at least 1, I would say. I don't want that to happen. Exactly. Still need some linemen. So we'll get some more answers in spring. There still won't be enough answers. We'll really start getting some ideas as fall practice gets closer and closer and closer. When the recruiting cycle gets fixed here, we're going to start figuring out some of these pieces that are missing. And I think that'll start making it feel a little bit better. It's like, all right, maybe the downward trend has leveled off. But I would say that we are in a precarious situation where you don't need to go past the foundation that you've laid. If you start digging into that foundation, that's when you got a problem. We're not there yet. It could go that way. So I guess that's my long, confusing answer to all that.
No, I'm with you. It's just, boy, I hope this isn't what it looks like.
I hope so. Hey, but listen, you got basketball to tie you over in the meantime.
Everything else is going great.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Hey, buddy, I appreciate you calling in tonight as always.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate everybody, man. War Eagle, everybody.
All right. War Eagle, man. Good to see you. Great questions and conversation as always. Carrie, thank you so much. And it has nothing to do with me personally. It has everything to do with all of you all and your contributions, being here subscribed, watching these shows live, being part of the conversation. You guys are the reason that the channel you guys are the reason that the channel's fun for me. You know, I mean, it is, I'm not going to sit here and say this is the hardest thing in the world to do, but it does take some time and planning, setting up. I mean, y'all can see what's behind me and stuff, but there's equipment here in front of me that you got to be prepared. You got to stay on top of the things that you want to have prepared this, but you guys make me want to do that. So there's your feel good moment for, the day. Carrie asks, we can take random question. Have I ever been to China? No. Maybe one day. I'm actually a little bit about me outside of Auburn. I'm a huge Disney theme park fan. And we're actually going there in the near future and to the Disney World, but I would love to go visit Disneyland Shanghai. But I don't foresee that happening anywhere in the near future, but we'll see. Kyron's checking in, big War Eagle as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. All right. We're not done just yet. But I do want to get this in real quick, as we always want to tell you who is bringing this stream to you. No big sponsors right now, but just a reminder that our booster club is available. A lot of them we've been saying hello to throughout the night. You can join up on the booster club, patreon.com/E2C network. $1 a month is all it takes. You get some perks there, and there's other levels with different perks where you can get some extra things for your money. We are primarily listener supported, and I like to keep it that way for the most part. If we ever get to the point where it can just be listener supported, that'd be awesome. But if you guys are able to do that, keep the lights on here as you have been able to do already. Those are the ways you can do that. Just check out the links in the description or visit patreon.com/E2C network. All right. Chase is in the house. What's going on, Chase? What's on your mind? Chase, man, I got some time. If you want to call in, buddy. I'd love to hear from you. I don't know if you're into a place where you can. Got a few minutes left before we sign off here, but love to chat with you if you can. More excited about the defense than offense for upcoming season. Need to get a wide receiver or a few more offensive linemen. Think Auburn is done with getting quarterbacks in the quarterback room. I think so as well. I think there's still a contingency of Auburn fans that is adamant that Caleb Williams is going to be in Auburn. Don't think that's going to happen. Don't really think that's going to happen. Devin's checking in. War Eagle totally did not see the notification. Gonna have to go back and catch what I missed. We had a lot of callers earlier on in the show. Everybody was ready. It's call in night. I'm ready to go. So it's been an eventful night, as always it is on Wednesday night live streams. Always check your notifications too. When you're subscribed and you have that notification bell marked to all. Recheck it a couple times. I've heard of people where it changes it for you sometimes if your settings get reset. Recently, my browser logged me out of everything. I had to go and I forgot all my passwords and stuff. I got logged out of this and I had to go figure it out again. It's just crazy. My initial thoughts are love to get Caleb Williams, but likely not to happen. I'd love to get anybody who wants to come to Auburn. Don't think there's room for him though. All right. Well, we'll have to catch you another time, Chase, but thanks for popping in here in the chat. Keep the comments coming if you can. I hope the dog's getting a nice walk. I feel like that's code for something, but Kyle, you're doing a stream Tuesday for the final signing day. The short answer is yes. When that happens, I don't know. It's going to depend in terms of time and stuff like that. The short answer would be probably when I'm pretty sure that all the signees have come in. If coach has done his press conference, that's usually a pretty sure sign. But for early signing day, we were able to do that, I think, even before the press conference started because we knew they were done for the day. So that'll be kind of up in the air. I'll probably have to set a preliminary time and go from there. Josh, it feels so good to be number one. And enjoy it, folks. Enjoy the hate that is spewing upon you from the jealous eyes of the college basketball world of not understanding how little Auburn is ranked number one for the first time in program history. Look, and again, I'm a guy who tells you regularly, rankings don't matter, but they do mean something in terms of perception, in terms of excitement, especially when it means something like this. Now, when if say we lose the number 1 ranking and we get it back again, that's done. We're going to be excited that we got ranked up there, but that's it. It's over with. Right now, though, enjoy it. It's the first time in program history. Literally walking my giant double doodle. A double doodle. Never heard of any one of those. I do have 2 pets. I have 2 cats. I only claim one of them because one of them's an idiot. Lucy is my cat, and Tux is my wife's cat. Lucy is known as Podcat because she's been on live streams before. Clint gave her that name. So she's usually not in here for this, but maybe someday I'll bring her in for you all. T-Rob is a lost cause. He did the unthinkable. Coaches have come back from Alabama before and come back to Auburn. So just, I get it. I don't like it either, but it's going to be crazy. Do I know any players on the baseball team? No. I'm trying to think. Do I know any of them anymore? No, I don't. I don't think so. I have to see what happens. Chase is asking, Kyle, which game is the biggest trap game left on our schedule? Ooh, good question. It's going to be probably someone that you wouldn't expect. Let me pull up the schedule so I don't have that incorrect. I want to make sure that I have. I think there's a little bit of trouble to be had with this Oklahoma game coming up. I mean, here's the problem is everybody is gunning for Auburn at this point. They want to take down not just number 1, but the team that's just peacocking everywhere about being number 1 and loving every single just second of it. All right, come on. I'm trying to get to the. All right. Oklahoma. We got Alabama at home, Georgia on the road. Georgia has shown you they can do things, even though they're the worst team in the SEC. Arkansas. There it is. Arkansas. I'm not even going to look any further. Arkansas on the road. That's your trap game. That's 3 games away. That'll be on a Tuesday or Wednesday, one of the 2. So that's probably it. Does our number 1 ranking help recruiting? Absolutely, it does. Any tool that you can use helps, but it certainly doesn't hurt. How about that? I think Cam agrees with the Arkansas thing. What is a trap game? A trap game would be like a game where you're expected to win. Everybody's expecting you to win, but then this team is likely the one to kind of knock you off. It's kind of like it's a upset. It's where upset alert would be kind of that, or where Auburn would be expecting to win and not do that. Dusty says Mississippi State, especially on the road. That's not a bad thought either. It's not. They almost did it to Kentucky last night, but I think Arkansas, Mississippi State, Florida will be a little bit tough. I think they were missing some players that they might have them back. This season's far from over in terms of Auburn locking it in. It's not like they're Gonzaga being able to, just pack it in for the, for the rest of the season. But that's a great question, Chase. The trap game, I think those are some pretty good answers, not just for myself, but people here. Playing in the bud along with every road game. Basically, Auburn is not Auburn's not even safe in Auburn Arena with that number 1 ranking on their back, but they are certainly not safe on the road. Am I going to the next basketball game? No. I am probably most likely not going to be back in Auburn outside of just schedule change. I wasn't supposed to be in Auburn this weekend, to be honest with you. And the stars aligned and I was able to go. Thankfully, because I got into the game. And it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't there. I need to give a shout out. I want to give them a shout out again. I have them written down here because I wanted to make sure I gave them a shout out in our post game show. Chris Gesh, Wolf Gesh, Garrig, Colin, and Jake. You guys continue to be rock stars. If I could give you listener of the month or viewer of the month, I would. Y'all are just the best. Absolutely the best for helping me get into that game. So to answer your question, no, I will likely not be on campus until probably next month sometime. I've got a particular date. Ooh, I actually need to email somebody back. Ooh, okay. Yes, I will let you know. But that's probably when you'll likely see me in Auburn again. I was thinking the trap game would be against Texas A&M. That's another good one as well. We lost to them in 2019 at the very end of the season, and we were undefeated at home before that game. Texas A&M seems to be a little bit deadly. There's no question that the beginning of Auburn's basketball season for this year was just difficult. And it's almost like you could take a sigh of relief after getting through that unscathed, but there's still much work to be done for Auburn to get through that. Are you ever in the Twitter spaces? I do a few Twitter spaces, and I try to do them in the morning time around 11. They're not really scheduled. It's not, peel the curtain back for you a little bit. It's hard for me to invest a lot of time for me personally to run them because of various things. But I try to do them sometimes just to open it up. And yes, so that just the best way to figure out if we're doing them, just follow us on Twitter. And you'll know when we go live. It should give you like a notification or something like that, or up at the top there. But I try to pop in. I don't do a lot of speaking unless I'm invited into the Twitter spaces because I just don't want to be one of, and no offense to anybody that does that, but like I just don't want to be one of those guys that has to get his word in every single time. But I pop in and listen to what's going on and stuff like that to answer your question. Carrie asked, do I think that Auburn will be 8-4 with Calzada as the starter? So I don't know. It's hard to pick right now. It's you got to figure out what this offensive line is going to look like, what the wide receiver room is going to look like. It's hard to really pick anybody. I think Calzada has a lot of upside that could help Auburn get to that record level. There's still the team is more than just the quarterback. It's a team. So we have to make sure we give whoever it is the pieces to be successful, or just like Bo, they're going to be put in bad situations where they have to come up with something and they end up getting hurt. All right, I can take some final questions and comments here. I will have to sign off here in just a second, but get them in rapid fire here at the end. A couple reminders for you that we'll be back again next Wednesday, live call-in show again if you'd like to do that, or if you'd like to call in on these shows. We'll be doing post-game show for Oklahoma this Saturday. I think it's Tuesday or Tuesday or Wednesday next week for that. We'll also likely go live after National Signing Day, so it'll depend on the scheduling for all of that stuff. So just stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you know when we're going live, that kind of stuff. Podcasts galore this week. They're posted here on the YouTube channel, but make sure you follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff out there. Lots of great content from our contributors here on the network. So if you need some Auburn content this week, you eat up with it on our case. And I'm sure there's plenty of other great things out there. Smoke Monday liked our tweets about the Kessler screen. Oh, man, that's the good stuff. Let's see here. Kyle, who do you think our top 4 receivers will be next season? I think Capers has a good chance to be up there. I think Shed will be up there just because of reliability, familiarity. And I think the other 2 are kind of unknown at this point. Well, if you count Shanker will be one of those as well. But it's a great question, but not a lot of answers right now this early in the season that I have for you guys. All right, I do have to shut it down right there. Got to head out. But thank you guys so much for being here. It is just means a lot to me that you guys hang out with me. You got a lot of choices out there to be part of Auburn content creators and stuff like that. And all of them do great work. And Chase, who's been here, is one of those. So I hope you'll check his channel out if you haven't. So again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys for hanging out with me, spending some time with me. You are the best little family within the Auburn family, and I appreciate you guys so much. Stay tuned to the channel. Be looking for those live streams and those uploads, because there'll be more coming again soon. Until we talk to you guys again, though, War Eagle.